that's a wrap on a season which was impacted significantly by injury, yes, but obviously is going to be remembered for a long, long time for a trade in early February which changed the face of that team and in a lot of ways the league. Dallas did beat Sacramento in the 9-10 game. The Kings moved on from their GM immediately after. Meanwhile, Dallas's embattled GM, Nico Harrison, still has his job. He doubled, then tripled down on the Luka trade in a closed-door meeting with the media prior to the play-in, saying defense wins championships. The Mavs played for a championship last season. They don't qualify for the playoffs this year. And in a loaded West, how do they get back to being close to the championship again anytime soon? Going to seem like almost certainly they don't. All-time stunner from early February will continue to echo in Dallas and around the league. Tim Legler standing by to join us from Memphis. And Tim, I want to just start with the beginning and the group that Memphis started the game with. They've got options, and it's about matchups. And Edey's out there. There's a lot of question when he was at Purdue. Can he play in the league? He got another double-double, and I'm not saying he was the guy, but I'm just curious that the grouping they started the game with, because you made mention of it, how significant was that in the start they got out to?
Yeah, listen, I thought Zach Edey was the unsung factor in this game. And this is back-to-back games, really. He had 14 points, 17 boards against Golden State the other night. Struggled a little bit offensively in the fourth quarter of that game. But I thought his size and presence in the paint against a team this big was so important to allow Jaren Jackson Jr. to be more versatile out on the perimeter defensively. Dallas had very little opportunity on the offensive glass. They didn't get much at all really around the rim despite all of that size. So I thought Edey was a factor. But look, the main factor in this game was the pace that the Grizzlies started this game with, converting turnovers into the open floor to transition, living downhill off penetration. And that's really what got this crowd into the game, created the environment. You saw Memphis impose their style of play. That's what the question was for me going into the game. Which team could do that? Memphis clearly did. Number one in the league in pace, and you saw all of that in the first half.
For sure. And look, that's an electric building, and Josh said that they fuel them, they jump them early, score the first 7, they're off to the races, make a bunch of threes. And the same way that Dallas, in a way, won that game with Sacramento with that 44-point second quarter. It felt like the 39-point first quarter created a hill that Dallas just was not going to be able to have the energy to overcome. The matchup that they now face in OKC, this is not an 8-seed Grizzly team. They spent most of the year in the top 4 in the West. I mean, they were separated, obviously, by just a couple games between basically second, third, and then all the way down to 8th. What's your first thought on what kind of problems Memphis can present to a really, really good OKC team?
Well, first, I agree completely. I think that's a good way to sum up this Grizzlies team. They're not a typical 8 seed. This was a team that at one point was a 2 seed, spent almost the entire year in the top 4 until that late season slide cost them, and they forced themselves into this position. A lot of talent, star-level talent at the point guard position. Desmond Bane is a problem at the 2. They've got a big that's an all-star in Jaren Jackson, who's a defensive force. They've got a lot of depth on this team as well. But, Scott, here's the one thing that they're going to run into. First of all, a team that has given them massive problems over the last couple of seasons. But more importantly, a team in the Thunder that's number 1 in the league at preventing points in transition. Oklahoma City changes ends in the floor better than any team in this league, and they get back and force you to play against their half-court defense, which, by the way, is also number 1. Defending the 3, defending the paint, and then converting turnovers into points at the highest rate. So you're talking about a buzzsaw defensively that Memphis is going to run on any given night, Scott, to beat anybody in this league in a particular game. Over the course of a series, with what Oklahoma City represents defensively, it's an incredible challenge for the Grizzlies.
You got to do it 4 times. We don't have a ton of time. Just a sentence. You know how we do here. Not a paragraph, not a page, a sentence. The series you're most looking forward to as the playoffs get going on Saturday.
You got to give me that Clippers Nuggets, man. That is tasty. The Clippers have really injected themselves into the conversation in the Western Conference, the way they played down the stretch, the way Kawhi Leonard looked over the last couple of months with an elite defense around him. That's the one I look at more than any other. And you picture, one of those teams moving into the second round to potentially challenge OKC. I'm not going to put Memphis to bed yet, but it's got to be that 4-5 matchup in the West, Scott.
That's a paragraph, but I'm never going to.
15 and 11. Ja Morant, 22, 9 and 7. Desmond Bane, 22. Scottie Pippen Jr., 13. Aldama, 11. Boy, AD came to play tonight. Rich, I know you watched this game, Mitch. AD came to play. P.J. Washington played 27 minutes. He and I had the same number of points. I was on a flight, 0. Derek Lively played 20 minutes. Derek Lively the second played 20 minutes. He also had the same number of points that I had. And you had, Mitch, and you had, Ocho, 0 points.
Yeah.
Caleb Martin, he played 11 minutes. I outscored him. We both had 0 points. Spencer Dinwiddie, he didn't get in a whole lot. He played 4 minutes, 0 points. Dante Exum, he played 13 minutes. He had 3 more points than a 57-year-old with 2 replaced hips. You're not going to win when you get that kind of production. When you get 2 starters, Mitch, and you know this, you get 2 starters, and they play 20-plus minutes, and you think you're going to be the team on their home court, that's not going to happen. What did you like about what you saw from Memphis tonight, Mitch, and what didn't you like about what you saw from the Dallas Mavericks?
For Dallas, I don't think everyone came to play for sure. We just mentioned that, and Davis did need a lot of help today. He should have. I think if he'd have had Kyrie, it would have looked a lot better. But they didn't have anyone that could really kind of take anybody off the dribble, other than Williams, the point guard that comes off the bench. So they had a lot of trouble just really kind of creating their own shots. And Anthony Davis is the best at creating a shot for one of the biggest men that's in the game. But for the Memphis Grizzlies, man, I like what I saw. They had a balanced scoring. Everybody came to play. And I'm looking forward to this next series because they match up very well with OKC. But OKC, has been the team all year. So it's going to be see how they play.
Yes. When you look at this, and I agree with you, I think they match up because they got a big. Zach Edey goes 7-4. You got Jaren Jackson. So when they put their 2 bigs out there, Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, you got a great matchup. The question is, can Zach Edey go outside and defend at the paint? Because Chet Holmgren is going to spend a lot of time. He's going to drag him out the deep. So if I'm thinking, I'm gonna put Zeddy on Hartenstein because I know Hartenstein is no threat for him to shoot no 3-point shots. I ain't worried about him. I'm gonna put Jaren Jackson on Chet Holmgren because he can slide better. He's more mobile. He's more agile, and he's a threat on the offensive end because I got to take some of that zap out of him on the defensive end by making him play defense so his offense suffer as they go there. But I agree with you. When you look at the balanced score and you had 3 guys that gave you at least 20 in your starting lineup, every 6 guys played double figures, and they didn't play a whole lot of minutes. Jared Jackson played the most minutes, 36. All the rest of the guys, 32, 33, 33, 30. So there's not a whole lot of exertion going on. I don't know when they play.
Sunday
or Monday.
Yeah.
Sunday. So they got a quick turnaround. But hey, I'm in the playoffs. I like this matchup. Ocho, you watching this game? What'd you like? What you think about what you saw from the Grizzlies?
Well, listen, from the Grizzlies, they played really well. Bane, phenomenal. Ja Morant was going to do what Ja does. Everybody else, collectively as a group, everybody contributed. Everybody scored. On the other side of it, again, it makes Nico look ridiculous. Now, I understand Anthony Davis had the game of his life. He had 20-some points at the half, had 40 at one point. I think might have been the third or the fourth quarter, but nobody else showed up.
Nope.
PJ had a donut at the half. Klay Thompson really wasn't hitting any shots in the first half. He showed up a little bit in the second half, creating shots, doing what he does down in the post, in the block. But still, nobody else showed up for the Mavericks. Anthony Davis, obviously having to be hero with no help tonight, is why they lost the game.
Yeah, he gave you 49, 2, or a steal and a block. And that's what's most disappointing. I think AD acquitted himself very well, but nobody's surprised by AD playing like this. I don't care if Jaren Jackson is a defensive player of the year. AD going to score on anybody. We've seen him against some of the best, be it Nikola Jokic, be it against Giannis, be it against Joel Embiid. Anthony Davis, this is what frustrates people about him, Mitch, is that we see him give Joel Embiid a 40 piece. Right. We see him drop 40 on Jokic. We see him give 30, 40 to Giannis. And then all of a sudden he'll come up and play a game where he have 9 points and 8 rebounds. And we're like, what the hell, AD? I'm not surprised that AD had a 49-2 game. Nobody should be, because he's that good. The problem is He's not consistent as he should be, given his ability. He can put the ball on the floor. He can finish at the rim. He can play with his back to the rim. He's a 3-level. He got a mid-range. He can shoot the 3. Now, he's not great at it, but he can get to the free throw line. That's what is sometimes frustrating about AD, is because you see what he's capable of when he comes to play. Go ahead, Ocho.
Well, listen. I'm not a professional basketball player, but I do got eyes and I do have common sense. AD didn't have a choice but to play like this tonight, huh?
Yeah.
The nights when he does have 9 points, he has help. He has help to make up for the production that he doesn't have on those nights that he's off. Now, a night like this, when nobody else is helping and scoring and putting the goddamn ball in the hoop, he don't have no choice but to have a night like this. And he's one of the few players in the NBA that can take over a game. That's a 3-level scorer. He can shoot from 3. He's not that high efficient. He ain't no goddamn Steph Curry. He got mid-range. He can take your head down in the block too, whatever you want to do. So in order for them to have any type of consistency until they get the big dog back, and this we talk about next year,
right?
Kyrie coming back, and obviously have some other help collectively. It's gonna be a long time before grace is given to management for the choices and decisions that they made in shipping Luka out. Could you imagine how in the hell we ship Luka out based on some stuff that has nothing to do with off the court, and the stuff that he does on the court is going to continue to show up for the next decade somewhere else, when it could have been us, when he just took us to the goddamn finals last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we talk about AD, man, AD is a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. But I think we always see that some of those games where he should be demanding the balls. We saw a lot of the Lakers game where he started out very well, but he just floated through the whole game and without even asking for the ball. And I think sometimes we need to see that, that toughness of him to just say, hey, man, give me the goddamn ball. But he never does that. And so he just float through the game sometimes, and then you forget about him, that he's on the court,
Yeah, when you have a guy that kind of skill level, because people don't realize AD 6'10" and a half. He can put the ball on the floor. He can handle the ball. He can play with his back to the basket. That's what he likes to play. See, he's in a perfect situation. He's in a much situation in Dallas than he was in LA, because they didn't have big. If you go back and look at AD when he played his best, what did they have around him, Mitch? They had JaVale McGee. They had Dwight Howard. So he basically played for the entire game except the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. He played the 4. Now the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, he's playing the 5. Go back and look at his stats. His first year there, that was his best year statistically. Led the team in scoring, led the team in rebounding, because because you got 3 bigs. He could always play the 4 until the final 5 minutes of the ball game, and then he slide to the 5, which he didn't have a problem with. Now he goes to Dallas. What do they have? Derek Lively II. AD can play the 4. Daniel Gafford, he can play the 4. Powell, he can play the 4.
Yeah.
You see? So in a situation, theoretically, Ocho, he's better in Dallas than he was in LA, because they got bigs around him, so he can play his natural position, a position that he feels most comfortable playing, because he's made it abundantly clear. He said, go back and look at me when I was in New Orleans, when we had Boogie, and I could play the 4. Look at my numbers, and he ain't lying.
Yeah, but I think at times though, like you said, he's better at the 5 though. Once you try, when you have shooters around him, they're a better team at the 5, because sometimes he falls in love with the outside game. Assert himself, like when he's a big man. When they want him to play big man, and we know when he first came in the league, AD was a runner. He used to beat the big man down the floor. So when he played the 5, he drove the big man crazy. AD don't run no more. And you see that he jogs down. He's into his little steps. But this guy he's so efficient. When he gets the ball, he makes a play. And the one thing I do like about him is he plays that other end. He blocks shots. He rebounds. He covers up.
On ball defender. He helped weak side. You're absolutely right. But Mitch, here's the thing though. Is that when you look at AD, and every once in a while he'll get that early leak out. He'll get the guy on his back. They throw the ball down, and he'll get down there. But see, the problem with him playing the 5, AD don't want to bang that.
No.
You see the thing? No. You see, you play the 5. You play the 5, man. You got to bang.
But who really banging? Chad, who really banging?